Welcome to Chronosphere Fiction, your Uber through the spectral streams. I'm your pilot, Daniel French. Dear passenger, please align your seat and headphones for maximum comfort. We are going to focus on your dopamine receptors with a submission by writer G.A. Wald, entitled Fulfillment. In the not-so-distant future, a range of pharmaceuticals has altered the human experience. Two men, a scientist and an advertising executive, sit down to discuss their firm's next big release, its impact on humanity, as well as themselves.
Fulfillment by G.A. Wald. In the near future, two men have sat down to discuss a campaign for their company's new product, a solution to fix all of life's problems. Though they sense the importance of what they are working on, neither can fathom just what they are about to release onto the world.
Ashton, you've had me trapped with just you in this meeting room for over an hour. I'm still not getting this. Run this by me one more time.
Mark, I don't know why you need me to explain this to you again. This is the easiest product we've ever had to come up with a campaign for. I mean, literally nothing should be easier to sell. Like, no shit. Literally, no one will ever want a product more than this one.
I know, I get it. But we need a way to communicate that to people, simply in a non-threatening way. It could be the greatest thing in the world. Shit, this may be the greatest thing in the world. But if we can't convince people to try it, they're just going to sit there on the shelves next to all the other should-have-beens that never caught on because they didn't hire our marketing agency. So break it down for me once more. Break it down to me, the customer. Sell it to me. Okay, why do I need this? What does this do for me?
Okay. So fulfillment.
Wait, I'm going to stop you right there. That's the best name we could come up with? Fulfillment? Sounds like a sex toy.
No, we didn't come up with that. That's just been the working title the engineers have been using.
Okay, fine. We'll fix that later. Go on.
Okay. So, why do you do anything?
What do you mean?
Why do you do anything? Why did you get up this morning? Why did you pull yourself out of bed, replace your teeth guard, put on that fairly shitty suit, get in your car, come to work? Whatever the hell you did from the time you woke up till this moment, why did you do any of it?
Because I had to. I had to go to work, had to get my paycheck.
Paycheck for what? Food? Shelter? More shitty suits? You don't have to work for those things anymore. Basic income has been around since you were a child.
Okay, but I don't want to live like the Garbles do. I want to experience the finer things in life. I want to eat a steak at night, get a drink from a bar, take out your sister when I can't find anyone hotter to bang.
Fuck you. But why do you want those things?
Pleasure, I guess. Your sister gives a hell of a blowjob, no teeth and all.
Again, fuck you. But pleasure? You can have more pleasure than you could ever get from a steak, from a beer, from banging. Again, fuck you. Pleasure is just dopamine released in your brain. Steak, reproduction, a chocolate chip cookie. Dopamine is just the reward system for everything your ancestors needed to do to continue to survive. But people discovered a shortcut to the pleasure centers thousands of years ago the first time some caveman decided to smoke poppy seeds. Lucky for us, that wasn't enough because of 3 reasons.
Ah, yes, back to your 3 reasons.
I didn't come up with this shit. This has been in any fucking evolutionary psychologist handbook for the past 15 years. Reason 1. If poppy seed cavemen sat around and did nothing but enjoy his pleasure from his opium-addicted ass, it wouldn't take him long to starve to death. And I'm sure many did. Hell, before basic income, even 30 years ago, drug addicts were starving themselves to death, taking the shortcut to the pleasure centers in their brain, sitting around, getting high while the rest of civilization worked to produce what they needed.
Goddamn Garbles.
Garbles didn't come around till later. 30 years ago, there were no such thing as garbles, but we'll get to that. So, reason 1 you can't just sit around feeding the pleasure centers of your brain is because you lose the motivation to do all the things you need to do to keep your body running. Food, water, shelter from the elements, making your impact on the gene pool. But less than a century ago, a blink in the eyes of history, that had changed. We, humans, we automated the shit out of everything. Building construction, agriculture, waste management, healthcare, goddamn pizza delivery. From seed to plant to lab to growth center to restaurant to the steak delivered on your table, we've automated almost the whole goddamn thing.
Which has been awesome.
Well, yeah. But back to our poppy seed caveman and the 20th century heroin addict. Okay, before they couldn't just sit on their ass doped up, because eventually they would die from not taking care of themselves. But once robots started taking care of us, and more importantly, once basic income gave everyone access to the shit these robots were producing, Poppy Seed Caveman could sit on his ass all day doing nothing but dope and continue to exist. But civilization didn't cease to exist. People had everything they needed to live. They had the drugs they needed to go directly to the pleasure centers of their brain, but civilization did not end. I mean, yeah, it did for some people, but only a small portion. So why?
I think you're about to tell me.
Okay, because of reasons 2 and 3. Reason 2, decreasing marginal utility.
Marketing terms like that are going to sell a whole lot of nothing. Try using English.
Well, fuck. Okay, your steak dinner. You love that first bite, right?
Well, yeah.
And probably the second. And the third. But eventually you stop eating the steak. Like, if you had a 20-pound steak of the greatest fucking steak any lab ever could make, cooked in the greatest of restaurants, by the greatest of programs, you wouldn't eat all 20 pounds. Not in one sitting.
No, because I'd get full.
Even if you didn't get full. You wouldn't just eat that steak for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, every single fucking meal, every single fucking bite, until that steak was gone, would you?
No, of course not. I'd get fucking sick of it.
Exactly. From that very first bite till you decided to stop eating it, you were getting a little bit sick of that steak. So little at first you didn't even notice. But by about the 10th bite, you start to notice how it didn't quite taste as good as that first bite did. And eventually you'd get full, or move on to something else, regardless of how much steak was left.
That's your decreasing utility bullshit? Getting sick of stuff? Why didn't you just say people get sick of the same shit?
Okay, yes, exactly. Reason 2. People get sick of shit. Decreasing marginal utility. Whatever you want to call it, one of our evolutionary godsends and the bane of human existence for centuries. If it wasn't for that evolutionary response of getting sick of the same shit, humans would have been stuck doing whatever gave them pleasure on repeat forever until they eventually died out. But at the same time, one of the cruelest pranks of life. As soon as you enjoy something, you'll never enjoy it quite as much as you did, at least with the same quantity.
But isn't that what that drug Fixinol was created for? To stop people from using up all their opioids?
Yes. Well, that was the idea anyway. Fixinol was developed and made that company a shit ton of money. When people took Fixinol, they no longer got sick of things. The benefits were mind-boggling. For the first time in human history, people could enjoy something as much as they did the first time, as long as they wanted to. First real social impact was the decline in divorce rates. People just didn't get tired of their spouse. People fell in love and stayed in love. Yes, there were some side effects with memory. I mean, Fixinol had to work somehow, but the benefits were huge. I mean, my wife probably would have left me a long time ago if it wasn't for Fixinol. And it wasn't just relationships. People stayed committed to things. People just wouldn't get sick of things anymore.
So, the garbles?
Yes. Well, that was an unfortunate side effect that we actually kind of anticipated. We estimated about 0.01% of the population would be susceptible. We never anticipated 10%.
That's a pretty big fuck up.
But the benefits were huge for those that could handle it. But yes, I guess we found out a lot more people would be drug addicts if every time they took opioids, it was as good as their first time using. And with people's basic necessities already being taken care of, there were a lot of people who ended up in that loop. Wake up, get high, go to sleep, wake up, get high, etc., with really no way to break that cycle. Society continued and continues to take care of them.
Goddamn fucking garbles. Waste of resources.
So why aren't you a garble?
The fuck did you just say?
Why aren't you a garble? You could...
Shut the fuck up!
That right there. That frustration you're feeling. That is what we want you to tap into. Your need for fulfillment. But here's the catch. Everyone feels unfulfilled. And we all feel like fulfillment is just within our reach. But we could never quite seem to get there. Why did so many rich and successful people kill themselves? Why did Ernest Hemingway, Hunter S. Thompson, Kevin Cartwright, Kurt Cobain all kill themselves? Because when they reached the top and still weren't fulfilled, they realized that fulfillment was the ultimate tease.
Now you're getting too deep.
But this is the cool part. Evolutionary biology, psychology, whatever you want to call the process, it played a trick on us. It made us all desire fulfillment, and it made us feel like fulfillment was within our grasp. We just needed to somehow make it to the next level, to get the slightly bigger house, the next promotion, to break into that next higher social circle. But then you get the promotion, the slightly bigger house. The cooler people start hanging out with you. And for a moment, you think you're there, but you're not. We thought Fixnal might have fixed this, but it didn't. It's not that you get sick of the bigger house and the new job. It's just something else.
Something else?
Do you know what Steve Jobs' dying words were? That he should have spent more time making friends. Do you think that was the answer to his fulfillment? Of course not. But that's what he viewed as the answer to his fulfillment, because that's what he viewed as the biggest gap in his life. If Steve Jobs had spent all his time making friends and not creating Apple, on his deathbed he would have wished he spent more time chasing his dreams of business. Because fulfillment is a lie. It's the tease. It's the carrot at the end of the stick attached to the horse. No matter how hard he runs, that carrot stays just in front of him, just out of reach, until he eventually gives up. But it's that progress that horse made before he gave up that brought us everything. It grew the first crop, the first light bulb, the first power plant. It built the first car, the first plane. It put a man on fucking Mars. When you were being driven to work this morning without ever having to touch a steering wheel, looked down and saw the Apple logo on your dashboard, it's because of the distance Steve Jobs ran when chasing his carrot. Human beings were never meant to be fulfilled. In fact, we can't be fulfilled. Well, we couldn't anyways. Until 12 years ago when some PhD intern noticed the monkeys he was testing antidepressants on seemed to be really fucking happy. And more importantly, didn't seem to mind being really fucking happy. And they stayed that way. And that brought us here.
So that's fulfillment.
That's fulfillment. Turns out feeling fulfilled in life is just as much brain chemistry as not feeling fulfilled was. And some douchebag discovered how to flip the switch. One pill, just taken once, and you will be content. Satisfied forever. You will feel as though you have accomplished all of your life's dreams, and you will be satisfied with having done that.
But if Fixnal created the garbles, what will this do to humanity? Once this gets out there into the public, once people no longer have any incentive to do anything, what will happen?
I don't know, but we're going to make a fuck ton of money doing so.
And so, fulfillment was released, and it was widely successful. In fact, it was the last pill ever produced. The demand for other pills went away as incurably sick people felt they had already led complete lives. 30 years later, the last human passed away, feeling very accomplished for all that humanity had achieved.
Thank you, G.A. Wald, for that wonderful submission. We had fun putting it together. Your narrator was Blake Benlin. Ashton was voice acted by Harrison Derbyshire. And Mark was played by our newest voice actor, Spencer Frederick. Welcome aboard, Spencer. Thank you, loyal listener, for once again traveling the spectral streams on Chronosphere Fiction. Keep an eye on your feeds for our upcoming Western series of Outlaws and Lawmen. Also, Season 2 of Generation Z will be starting soon. The next episode of Gafgarn, the Eternally Unfurnished, will be the season finale of the first season of that series. And Agapantha, the sister series, will be coming out with a new episode shortly. Until then, loyal passenger, keep your cosmos clean.